It is July 1st, 2013. I'm sitting with Bob Nicodemus, and we are going to do the fourth interview for the project. All right. The first thing I wanted to talk to you about, if you don't mind, just telling me a little bit about yourself, just about maybe your family and your roots in Craig.
Well, I was born west of here, about 35 miles.
Okay.
Near Juniper Springs, about 7 miles south of Juniper Springs.
Okay.
And I was born on the Butts Ranch, and that was about 10 miles south of Juniper Springs.
Okay.
And Miss Stella Craig, she was a Butts, and she died here just recently. So the Buttses are all gone now.
Okay.
Jesse Butts, I was born on his birthday,
Okay.
and he's 11 years a day older than me. And Jerry Roberts of Maybelle, he had a boy born 11 years a day younger than me.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's kind of neat.
Yeah, that's really interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, pretty much, I was raised down there. That's
Okay.
where I was raised.
And did you live in Craig your whole life then?
Near Craig, you know.
Near Craig.
Mm-hmm.
Right, okay.
But, well, I lived in Grand Junction for a few years, you know.
Oh, okay.
And then I was in the Navy for 3 years, so.
Oh, okay. Where did you serve, if you don't mind me asking?
In the Navy?
Mm-hmm.
Well, in North Atlantic and South Pacific and Midway, Pearl Harbor.
Oh,
I've been pretty, Italy, but I've been pretty well all around.
Oh, okay.
Across the equator. I'm shellback.
Okay.
Across the equator. So we got initiated too, I'll send you.
Okay. My father was in the Marine Corps, so
was he?
Yeah, I did a lot of traveling as well.
Yeah, I wanted to be in the Marine just for the uniform, boy. For the uniform.
The Navy uniform's pretty good looking.
Yeah, it is nice looking too, but I wasn't quite man enough to go in the Marine.
Oh, no.
You ought to admit.
Okay.
Yeah, well, I enjoyed being in the Navy. I just wanted to be in the Navy.
Uh-huh.
And my brother went in before the war a little bit, and I couldn't pass because of my physical, my vision.
Okay.
And so then the war started. As a boy, I didn't want to be a draft dodger or 4F. That really got to me.
Right.
So I went to a doctor in Denver, Dr. Griswold, and he worked on my eyes. He got me where I could pass the physical for the Navy.
Okay.
So I went in the Navy.
Oh, that's awesome.
I'm really happy about it. Yeah.
Okay.
I was really glad I got in there.
Right. That's good. Okay. When you got back to the area, when you came back, what were you doing? Was work?
Well, I was working for, he was my wife's dad. Of course, I wasn't married then, so I worked for him for once, and about 3 years, and then when I came back, I worked for him again, and that's how I got married to my wife. She was one of his daughters.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
She just passed away here a little over a year ago now.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
That makes it pretty hard for me because I depended on her. She could do the drive. She could do what I couldn't do, and I could do what she couldn't do pretty much.
Right.
But I'm getting by pretty well.
It's good to hear. I'm sorry to hear that. Basically what I want to just do is ask you a couple questions just about Craig in general. So you've lived here and in the area for most of your life.
Yeah.
How was Craig when you came back from the war? What did it look like? How is Craig?
Well, same as every day, I guess. I mean, it hasn't changed that much. It's different than it was when I was a kid.
Uh-huh.
Of course.
How so?
A lot of people didn't have cars. We didn't have a car.
Mm-hmm.
And if we got to Craig once a year, us kids, Dad probably get to Craig. But he'd come with a team. I came with him a team once. You just use the running gears and set on the bolsters and come to town. Then you buy lumber enough to form a bed in there, see, and then buy all the other supplies you want.
Right.
And it took pretty well the whole day to bring the team in here.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'd stay overnight and usually stayed a couple of days and loaded up and then went back home with the team.
Right.
You know, had a little nicer way to ride going back. I had a bed set on.
Right.
But, and it was a lot different than what it is. No, we didn't have no telephone out there. They put a phone in once for a little while. We had it about a year, I guess.
Okay.
It was kind of funny. You ring somebody. And our ring was two longs and a short. I remember that.
Uh-huh.
And Central was just one long. And so you'd call somebody on the line, because you'd hear all the clickers on the phone all go up. All the neighbors listen to see what you're saying. You didn't say anything, you didn't want people to hear it out there on the phone.
Right.
You know. But we only had that about a year, and then they took it out again.
Oh, okay. Okay. So, you said you didn't have a car.
No, I was about 14 when I bought my first car.
14, okay.
Yeah, I walked from our place to Lay, about 14 miles.
Oh, wow.
And the guy wasn't there, and my brother walked with me. So we had to walk home.
Right.
So the next time I worked for Henry Stream down there, East Salem Bar, and so he said, come down there, and he'd take us over. So that was about halfway. And then we made sure the guy was there that time.
Right.
So we had to crank it. An old 1919 Nash. You're younger than me. And you had to crank it. Well, I'd never been in the wheel of a car, ever.
Right.
Then they had it in the basement of a hotel, and they'd throw the trash in there and then hold the dump. So I was unloaded down to the dump. It was only about a half a mile from Lay then.
Right.
Well, I went to shift to second. It'd get stopped before I'd get into second. I tried a couple of times, and I thought, well, this not as easy as I thought. And so I just left it low because they'd watched it, and I was making me nervous. And so got down the dump. Well, the emergency brake was on. There was some trouble. So I started out this time, and I did pretty well. I had to come to Lay Hill, and I had to shift gears twice. And so, but I made it hard, and then it come pretty easy for me. Well, we got about 10 miles from home, right in the bottom of the wash at the sheared, where they sheared sheep, and I quit, just like you turn the switch off.
Right.
And we cranked it because we didn't know anything else to do. We cranked both of us till we couldn't crank no more. And so then they said, well, we'll just walk home, leave us here. And we went up and sat on the bank a while to rest. And so after a while, brother said, well, let's go. I said, well, we'll go give her one more twist. No, he said, you'll just wear yourself out. It ain't going to start. No, let's go. Well, I ignored him and went down and give her a twist. Well, while we was resting, it was resting, I guess.
Right.
They just took right off. So we got home after all.
Oh, good. Okay. That's very, and that was your first car?
That was my first car.
And by that time, were there cars in Craig? Did people in Craig have cars?
Oh, yes, and we had a couple of neighbors that had cars.
Okay.
And Roscoe Butts, he finally bought a brand new Chevrolet. It cost him just a little less than $300.
Wow.
And so he took us to Craig, and now they drove about 15 miles an hour.
Wow.
I got about to Lay, and the coming cloud burst. So he got out and put all these curtains, you had to put all these little things you had to twist on. And he was just soaked. And the time he got in the morning, it quit raining. And the car went by with windows. They just started to come out of them. And he said, well, I'm going to get one of them. Oh, I thought that was the ugly thing. I thought, boy, I hope you never just one of them. They're so ugly.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So, you know, in Craig, having all these cars, Craig was maybe becoming a little more, you know, modern like the rest of the country.
Oh, yeah.
What did Craig look like right before the boom in the 70s that I keep hearing about? What was Craig like in general?
Well, they built a refinery here, and that made Craig boom quite a bit, a lot of people.
Okay.
And then they finally took the refinery on.
Do you know about what time that was? Maybe not the exact year.
Well, it would have been about somewhere around 1925, I would guess, somewhere in there. Okay. My dad worked, we went to school at Maybell, see, I was 7 years old. I went to school there. And he worked on the refinery. He rode with somebody to Craig. He'd be gone all week and just home weekends.
Right.
But he helped build that new refinery.
Okay.
And so they shipped their gasoline to Nebraska to get it refined before they built the refinery and then back. Well, then when they built the refinery, they still charged us the freight out there and back. Well, they finally took it to the legislature and they got them stopped on that. Right. Yeah.
Okay. So that was like one of the first booms you saw.
Yeah, I would say that is the first boom, yeah. then Craig just kind of, when the toilet was fine, it looked like Craig got a little smaller there for a little while. But then it's quite a bit bigger now than it was then.
Yeah.
You know, Craig expanded quite a bit from what it was back then.
And what was going on that caused that expansion? What happened that made it grow?
Well, coal, and I guess there's a lot of coal mines around here.
Okay.
Lots of farming, and so I guess that's what it is.
And what did you do?
Well, I grew up there. My dad had a homestead.
Okay.
We grew up on the homestead, and raised our own crop of rye and corn, and well, we raised the garden and stuff. We put all the stuff we eat. The only grocery we had was Juniper. We got our groceries at Juniper, and our mail there. Had mail twice a week, usually. Tuesdays and Saturdays, mail days. And we go to Juniper, and a lot of people come there to go swimming on Saturday. And of course, they didn't have the bridge in, so they tried to ford the river. Well, they drowned out in the river, and Dad would deal with it. The team pulling them across, then he did quite a bit of that on Saturdays when he went down there.
Right.
Then Doc Arbogast lived across the river. He's the only doctor we had in the country.
Okay.
Dr. Arbogast.
What was his name?
Arbogast.
Oh, okay.
And he had a beard like mine.
And then I read that you had a farm equipment business. You sold farm equipment. How long were you doing that for?
Well, where that fish store out west here, that's it. We own it now. In fact, my son owns it. That's where we sold the farm. Well, we started in the '60s sometime, I think.
Started in the '60s.
And then we put that building up.
Okay.
Sold Oliver and Massey Ferguson there. Well, it was just Ferguson and Oliver, Massey Harrison Ferguson went together, so we had Massey Ferguson, they called it. And the Oliver company sold their equipment.
Right.
Then we went to farming and quit the implement business. Farmed south of Hayden.
Okay. How long did you do that for? The farming?
Oh, I was just around about 12 years, I suppose, something like that.
Oh, wow. Okay. And how was all of that process of going to owning the business to going back to farming? How was all of that?
Well, I enjoyed the implement business. We did real well with that. And then when we took the farming, it got to be a little too much. I wouldn't hire help. I didn't want to pay help. I should have had a lot more help, but I didn't want to borrow the money. But we did real well with the implement business. And then the farming, but boy, they just kept us going. So we finally decided to get out of the implement business and just did the farming. But I enjoyed that implement business while we was in it.
And how did you, and the farming, what did you do after the farming?
Well, I laid brick. I learned to lay brick. Worked for a bricklayer and did a little carpenter work and just worked around like that. You know, that's what I did till I sort of retired.
Okay. So you laid brick until you retired. So you did a lot. You did a lot of different work.
Yeah.
Yeah, you worked in a lot of different fields. Okay. Was there?
I worked for Esker's Construction for quite a number of years. We had a flying service too. And so I helped the flying service and the construction both.
Oh, okay. Okay. Was there a reason for switching what you were doing? Just wanted to do new things?
Well, I guess I just wanted to be of course, I knew Jim Esker's. He's a nice guy. I just kind of wanted to work for him. I learned to run a cab, so I could get it. And well, I started with him learning to fly. He had a flying service, see,
Oh,
and that's where I learned to fly,
okay.
as well as working for him. Down the range, that's where I learned to fly while he was working down there.
Wow. What was that? Was that something you did for recreation, like a hobby? Did you go to fly for fun?
Yeah.
What were you flying?
Well, I had an air crew. That's
Mhm.
the kind of thing I had. They had air crews had Sailcrafts and Ronicas and Stansons and Beechcrafts.
Okay.
So, I flew several type of planes.
Wow.
But I bought the air coupe from Pat Brooks over at Bags,
Mhm.
and I really liked that little plane.
Mhm.
Yeah, I flew that a long time.
Wow. How long did you fly? Or are you still flying?
No, well, I can't fly now.
Okay.
I still have my license, but
Mhm.
I wouldn't be able to pass the physical. I wouldn't want it, and anybody to be in the traffic pattern, because I couldn't be able to tell it's there.
Okay.
Yeah. I could drive a car if there wasn't anybody else on the road.
Okay. Okay. Aside from flying, what else would you do in your downtime? When you weren't working, what else would you do as maybe like a hobby?
Well, I don't know. I built 3 pairs of spurs.
You built 3 pairs of spurs?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Oh, that took a lot of my daughter was the riding tie queen in the rodeo business.
Oh, wow.
So she said she's going to have to get a pair of spurs. And I said, well, you hold off. So I decided I'd see if I could make them.
Uh-huh.
So I made her a pair. And my wife said, well, you should make my son Alman a pair. So I made him a pair. And I thought, by God, I'm going to have a pair for myself. So I made another pair for
Right.
myself. But that took a lot of time, I'll tell you, to make a pair of spurs.
Really? Did you just do it, or did someone teach you?
No, I just figured it out myself. Of course, I had my own spurs I rode with, and I patterned from them.
Oh, okay.
Crocker had a Crocker spurs. Now they don't even make them anymore.
Okay.
Spurs. There's not enough cowboys who buy spurs, so they
Right.
quit.
Right. Oh, that's very interesting. Okay. What would other, if you know, what would other people do, just kind of to unwind after work, to relax? What was going on?
For recreation, you mean?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. They play golf. A lot of people play golf.
Play golf. Oh, the golf course is here.
Mm-hmm.
How long has that been here? Do you know?
Oh, I don't know. It's been there quite a while.
Okay.
I tried a couple of times to play golf, but I never had time to play it. I guess I'd like it if I ever got onto it, but I just too many other things I'd rather do.
Right.
I wanted to parachute, but I never did get to it. But I still jump. They'd let me.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's a lot of fun.
I wouldn't have to put no tether or nothing. I'd just jump it up and shoot myself.
Okay.
Yeah, I could do it, but I went up with the parachuters when they was jumping, but I never did get a chance to learn how. Well, a lot of them I was going to try that, but I never did do it.
Okay. Okay.
But I had my own airstrip down on Snake. My father-in-law's ranch down on Snake River.
Oh, wow.
Down below the Snake River Bridge there.
Uh-huh.
I had my own private strip. I built it myself, a strip down there laying on.
A whole airstrip?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
It took me about 20 minutes to fly down there and about 15 minutes to fly by Craig from there. And it took half a day to drive down there.
Right. So flying was much quicker.
Oh, my, I'd say.
Yeah.
Lots of quicker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So did you house your plane there? Did you keep your plane on that strip that you built?
Well, while I was down there, I'd go down there to work hay or something, or shear or whatever we was doing down there, and I'd just fly down.
Oh, okay.
And I'd tie down, just tie my plane down.
Right. Okay. That's really, really interesting. How have you seen Craig in the surrounding area, so even where you're from, how have you seen this area change over the years? Ups and downs, or however you want to word it.
Well, of course, a lot more farming there was to start with. It expanded. I guess just naturally grew. Craig got to be a lot bigger than it was.
Right.
And see, my father-in-law and visit and worked. They was one that built the hospital.
Oh.
The first one here.
Okay.
And so that was quite an event.
Right.
And then the Duffy Tunnel down there. Now I worked in the Duffy Tunnel. We put tubing in it. And worked on that 1 year. My brother worked down there about 3 years on that tunnel. And then my dad used to work on that years ago. They put cedars in there for timber, and then the timber's all rotted out. So we was putting metal tubing in there. It was about a half mile long, that tunnel is.
Wow.
And we stayed down there. We had a little place dug back in the bank.
Right.
And then we had a little camper trailer, and my brother slept out in that, and my wife and I slept in that, in this hole in the ground.
Oh, wow.
And one day the whole side come out, and one big rock like that rolled right over it, and so we were really covered up with dirt and stuff. We had a tarp over it.
Right.
But then I set the mouse traps. I think I had 17 traps.
Wow.
And then I'd lay there and count them traps as they sprung. When they all filled up, I'd go empty them again. That's how they'd run over the top of the beds everything. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
But I'd count them traps and have to keep tracks. And when they all got filled, I'd empty them and do it again.
Right. Oh, wow. Okay. So you've seen a lot, and you've done a lot, and you say the main thing that's changed really is Craig's gotten bigger.
Yeah, it's got much bigger. The city itself,
Some other people I've interviewed have said that Craig got really big after the boom that took place in the 70s when the power plant came in and the Trapper mine. And after, since then, they said maybe it became big, and now it's maybe becoming smaller again. Have you seen that?
Oh, I suppose a little bit, but well, the farming kind of quit around here. The government paid them guys not to farm, and that stopped a lot of farming.
Okay.
And then the coal, some of them, like that one out here by Hamilton, they shut down.
Oh, right.
Them shut down. So that one made some difference. But on the whole, I think Craig is still growing a little bit. It's spreading out more.
Right.
Going every direction. We're going west quite a bit, going west.
Oh, so it's going west.
It's way west.
Okay.
From where the old ones were.
Okay.
Put the new jail, so yeah, I think Craig is expanding. Not as fast as it used to, but it's still expanding some. It's good to be more people. You got to live someplace.
Right, right. So not as fast, but still growing. And how have the people changed?
Well, I don't know. I guess that I don't know if people themselves have changed very much.
Okay.
The methods of travel, like we didn't have cars, and so that's changed quite a bit.
Right.
And I didn't even have an airport here when I was a kid. My first airplane ride was at Meeker on the 4th of July. It'd take you for rides, 15-minute ride.
Wow. Down in Meeker?
Down in Meeker, yeah, that's where I took my first airplane ride.
Right. That's cool.
The first airplane I ever saw was Lindbergh's, and he flew over where I lived when I was a kid.
Oh, wow.
And I just started to go out to the mail on horseback, and there's two planes, Lindbergh's and another one, just flying side by side. The little boy, I took that horse and did get back to the house to tell the folks, well, they was already out looking, watching the airplane. And that was really a sight to see, and I never had seen an airplane before.
Right. That's really interesting.
That was really quite a sight out there.
And you flew right over where you guys lived?
Yeah, and it's pretty high. Yeah, they all flew almost right directly over our house.
Wow.
And there's a short beller in them old planes. Radial engines, both of them had radial engines.
Right. And by Lindbergh, you mean the Charles Lindbergh?
Yeah, Charles Lindbergh.
Wow.
Flew across the ocean. Yeah, it was after he had done that.
Oh, it was after he had done that. Okay. That's still really, really interesting.
Oh, yeah. I never dreamed of going to the moon, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
When they went to the moon, that was exciting to me. I lived right there by the TV. I couldn't go to sleep. I'd watch that, the whole thing, every bit of it.
Yeah.
And I'd love to go to the moon.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that'd be a great trip.
Right.
I think one of the greatest sights would be when you got a little over halfway, when the moon and the earth were the same size. Now that would really be a sight, I think.
Right. That would be really interesting.
Yeah.
So I assume that, I mean, your big passion really is flying.
What's that?
Flying is your passion. You seem very passionate about it.
Oh, I love flying.
Yeah.
I really love that flying.
That's very cool.
Yeah. And I had my own airplane. That was nice.
Right. Is there anything else you'd like to share, just to be known? Any stories you want recorded?
Oh, gosh, I think we've pretty well covered everything.
Yeah? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, well, thank you very much for coming in. I really appreciate it.